Good morning. Thank you for watching another beautiful Lord's Day. Looks like it's gonna be pretty today, so get out and go to church and enjoy your day. This morning we got the sick list. We got Ronnie Robinson, Ashlyn Harrod, Jeremy Judkins, Sam Hoover, Ryan Sanders, Doyle Duke, Bruce Lewis, uh, Randy Burnett, Andy Duggan, Lee Heath, Ruby Allred, Luana Peeler, Benny Blair, Crystal Chanel, uh, Taylor Blanton, Robert Pitts, Sharon Armstrong, Gary Blanton, Donnie Smith, Pam Brown, and Claude Cunningham. We need to send sympathy to the families of Martha Francis, David Smith, and Freddie Scott. And I'd like to also mention I have an aunt that is going to have a procedure tomorrow, so pray for her and her situation will be taken care of. This morning we're going to talk a little bit about anger. That's something that some people struggle with, some people have a really hard time with, and it's something we probably all have to deal with at some point in our lives. And I saw this and I thought this is pretty good. It says holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one that gets burned. You know, coal is just it'll get so hot it just will melt steel, and that is you pick up a hot coal, you're the one that's going to get burned, and that's not that's not good. Um, so in Proverbs 14:29, whoever is patient has great understanding, but the one is quick-tempered displays folly. In 1 Corinthians 13:4 and 5, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. So we are all one. If you feel anger towards other people, you are not actually angry at them. You are angry at your perception of them. You know, you may get angry at someone, but you don't understand where they're at in their life. Maybe they've got some other things going on that you don't even understand. You know, you might need to, if you're angry at someone, you might need to find out a little more about them and see where they're coming from. Anger or bitterness toward those who have hurt you will block your path to higher ground. You can have anger toward people or you can have freedom from people, but you can't have both. Anger cannot be overcome by anger. If someone is angry with you and you show your anger in return, the result is a disaster. On the other hand, if you control your anger and show its opposite, love, compassion, tolerance, patience, not only will you remain peaceful, but the other person's anger will also diminish. Never respond to an angry person with fiery comeback, even if he deserves it. Don't allow his anger to become your anger. Anger is a terrible thing. We need to stay away from that if we can. You know, I was reading something this morning that said, you know, if you could just, when somebody, uh, pulls your plug or does something, that gets you going, need to take a deep breath and just, stand back or get away from them and think this thing out. The other thing I saw is don't send an angry email. You know, if somebody emails you something, and don't don't just jump off and send an email. You may look if you do that, you may look at it a few days later and think, man, why did I do that? I've known a lot of people that has done that, and they regret that. I was watching a a thing about Phil Robertson. I know maybe y'all know who he is. He's was on Duck Dynasty, um, and he was trying to feed his family, catching fish off the river down close to where he lived, and people keep stealing fish out of his net, and he went up to some of them, caught him out there doing it, and he got in his boat and took his shotgun and went out there and pointed his shotgun at them, and you know, that didn't end very well. Um, and he had become a Christian, and he got to thinking, you know, there's got to be a better way of doing this. You know, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't have to pull a shotgun on somebody. I need to think about this. You know, what does the Bible say? He got to studying up on it, you know, and he figured out. He said, you know, I need to be good to these people, and I'm gonna try that. You know, he was afraid that that wasn't gonna work out too good, so he caught these two old boys out there getting his fish, and he got in his boat and went out there, and he saw them there, and they was trying to get away from him. They took off. He said, wait a minute. He said, y'all was trying to get some fish. You must be hungry. You need some fish. He said, come back up here and I'll give you some of these fish. And they said, yeah, we didn't know what was tied on to the end of that rope. And he said, yeah, you did. You was up here trying to steal my fish. I know what you're doing. He said, come on back up here. I'll give you some fish. And they reluctantly come back up, and Phil just started pulling up the net and throwing the fish over in their boat. And he piled her boat full, you know, and they said, man, that's all right, that's all we need. You know, that's good. We appreciate that, you know. And Phil said, next time, don't steal my fish. He said, come on up there. If you can't catch fish, come up there and I'll show you how to do it. I live just right up the road here. Just come up there and get me. And he said, remarkably, people quit stealing his fish. He done a good deed to somebody, and that's the way it works. You know, if we got somebody that's angry with us or mad at us, you know, Bible tells us to do good to them, and that's like piling coals a fire on their head. You know, that makes them think about stuff, and it'll usually turn out a whole lot better. But that's my little lesson today on anger, and you know, try to keep your anger under control. I think a lot of stuff happens on the social media. You know, people get angry with one another, and you'll say stuff on social media that you wouldn't say to someone's face. And that's a bad thing. I don't know why people do that. We need to back up and take a deep breath. We're all one. We're all brothers and sisters, and we've got to live together. And you know, the Bible tells us to love your neighbor, and that's what you need to do. So keep your anger in control if you can, and do the best you can, and pray about things before you go off the deep end. So that's my lesson for today. Please keep all our servicemen and women in your prayers, and all the doctors and nurses and all the folks keep us safe, and our first responders. Please keep all those folks in your prayers. Thank you for watching. God bless. See you next time.